Hey, old man here. So, welcome to my new workshop. I've relocated, I'm in a new state, and I set up a nice little workshop in my garage here. You can see it behind me. But today, we're going to go over the process to wax the chain on your bike. I've been running just drip lube, oil lube, wet lube for years on my chains, and I get about 3,000 miles on a chain. On a road bike and my gravel bike, probably half that, 1,500 miles on a chain. And you have to service it, you have to maintain it every day. You drip oil on it every day, wipe it every night. And there's some downfalls to using the oil. You can get some oil on your legs when you touch it. When you're working on your bike, it's a little bit messy. So I'm finally going to make the transition into a wax chain. I've been running a wax chain on my new road bike for about a month now, and it's super quiet. It was a little bit to get set up, and you can see all the components that you're going to need in the video. But I really like it. It's cleaner, it's quieter, it's going to last longer. I just purchased a few chains, and they're not cheap. $44 for an 11-speed chain, and the 10-speed chain was a little less. It was probably $23, but it adds up. And I'm riding 200 miles a week. So at the end of the year, I go through 3 chains on a road bike. That's quite a lot of money. So I'm hoping that this works out well for me. Currently, I'm going in and using a drip wax in between waxing about every 150 miles or so, and I'm planning on re-waxing the chain completely after about 15 to 1,700 miles. I don't think I'm going to make 2,000 miles on a chain with the wax on it, but we'll see how far I get. In between waxings, you just got to give it a wipe off after your rides. And when you want to re-wax a chain that you've waxed, you can just soak it in some hot, probably boiling water. It'll strip off the wax, and then you have a nice clean slate to start with. But I'm going to show you the video next, and enjoy. Thanks. So here's just a quick update of a couple reasons why you might want to wax your chain. The first thing I do is I'm going to measure the wear on the chain. I've got this chain wear tool, and when you use it, you want to measure the wear on you want to put it in for the inner links. Like you can see how I'm checking an inner link, and this is worn. It's 0.5, and for the 11-speed chain, that's the maximum. And when you flip it over for the 0.75 or 1, it's still okay. But for an 11-speed chain, the 0.5 is the maximum. So this chain has to come off. So of course, to pop it off, you use the quick link removal tool. You just find the quick link. There it is right there. And you go ahead and just pop that with the tool. Give it a little jiggle, kind of breaks it loose, and then go ahead and take it off the drivetrain. This is just a quick demonstration here showing the old chain up against the new one, and you can see as you go along the chain, the links slowly don't line up, and when you get to the end, you can see there's a little bit of a difference in length, and that's how much it's worn out. So I just grabbed a coat hanger. I made a little, just something to hang the chain on. The amount that you loop it, right, the length of those loops is dependent on the wax pot that you have. The one that I have is a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm trying to loop it maybe like 6 inches or so, and that fits into the pot quite well. So here's a little recipe that I made up, and then I go ahead and put it into some pre-measured bags, showing the bent coat hangers. Now this melt pot is, I found it on Amazon. It's made in China. Go ahead and set it to 203 degrees. That's 95 degrees C. and give it a chance to melt the wax. It might take a half an hour or so before that melts. This pot is actually the same pot that Silka uses when you buy their pot. It's just OEM'd out of Asia. The same company or a similar company is selling this pot. It's the same one. You can set the temperature, digital display. So go ahead and stir it up. You want to mix up the wax to mix up the PTFE. You want that in suspension. So this is melted and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and drop the chain in. Yeah, when you get that in there, you want to swish it around a little bit. And then you also want to let that sit in the pot for a while to heat up the chain. Nothing really starts to happen until that chain reaches the same temperature as the wax. Now here's an example of when it's not at temperature yet. It's still kind of coagulated onto the chain. So we're going to let that sit a little longer. But once that chain is up to temperature, every 5 minutes, you're going to want to just take that lid off, swish it around a little bit, make sure that wax and that PTFE get in between the pins and the links on the chain. And we'll go ahead and do this like 3 times. You want 3 5-minute sessions of swishing in between. All right, now it looks like we're all set. We're going to give it one last swish. We're going to lift it out of the pot and we're going to hang it. You want to make something in your shop or something in your workbench to hang this chain over the pot. Let it drip down into the pot, not onto the pot, into the pot. Now what I do is when the chain is still hot and warm, I give it a wipe on the outside. I want to get that excess wax off of the outer plates. It'll give quite a mess once it dries. That's excess wax that you don't need. It's just going to be messy on your bike. All right, that chain is still hot. You want to give it about 10-15 minutes to cool down. When you get a chance, you also want to take the quick links, and what I do is I just dip them in by hand. The bottom end where the pin is. You want to hold that in the wax, let it heat up. Just takes a minute. Let that wax coat onto the pin. Take it off. Kind of dab it to get the excess off. Let it wick off, and then go ahead and let that sit. Now, while that chain is cooling off, I go ahead and I clean this drivetrain as best I can. I'm using a water soluble degreaser. I go ahead and spray that on and let it sit for a while. Let it do its thing. All right, then go ahead and grab a brush. Any stiff brush will work well. You want to get the heavy grease or any dirt, sticks or twigs that may have gotten into that drivetrain. You want to get them knocked out. Yeah, any dirt or grease or debris that's left over on this drivetrain is just going to get transferred into the chain. So you don't want that. You want this to be as clean as possible. And then I just rinse it off. This is just an adapter that goes on my hose. It's not a jet wash. The pressure's not really high, but they have a nice fine spray. I find that to be very good for the bike. When this is all done, just dry off the bike, get it ready to put the chain back on. Alright, so after the chain is cooled off, go ahead and take it off of your wire, and you're going to want to bend it and stretch it and loosen up all the links. You know, the wax is stiff on there, and I mean, you could try to put it back on the bike like this. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's certainly going to make it easier for yourself if you go ahead and take the time to kind of wiggle all those links and free up the wax that's on there. You can even see chunks of wax falling off. So, you know, you want to do this in a place where you can clean that up afterwards. I have a nice rubber mat on the floor in my shop that I'll sweep up and then vacuum. So all these little fragments of the wax that are falling off are going to get cleaned up nicely. Right, you don't have to go too crazy here. I see some people like using a broom handle and, you know, running their chain over a broom handle back and forth a few times. And I mean, if you want to do that, you can, but this works just fine. All right, then we go ahead and put the chain back on, and you can see the wax, and there's excess wax built up on this, so you want to get it on there and go ahead and pedal it around the drivetrain a few times to just kind of loosen it up. And then what I do is once that's all set, I'll go ahead and take a rag, in this case it's a paper towel, and I'll just wipe the chain. You want to get, you know, the wax that's on the outside of the chain, outside the plates, that's not doing anything for it. It's the wax inside the little drums and pins that's doing it for you. So give it just a quick wipe off, and this is fine. And this is what you'll do after each ride as well. You just wipe that chain off after each ride. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. That's the process that I settled on for waxing chains for my bikes. Like I said, I have 2 road bikes that I ride and a gravel bike. I'm hoping to extend the life of those chains and reduce the cost. It seems to be fairly straightforward. Like I said, I'm still pretty new at this. I've been riding a wax chain on my road bike for about 2 months now, and it's worked out quite well. When it starts to get noisy, go ahead and put the drip wax on. And then, you know, I'm just going by what other people have been telling me for the longevity of a wax chain. Anywhere between, you know, 1,500, maybe 1,700 miles on a stretch to change that out. And that's on a road bike. The gravel bike's probably going to be half of that. But yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.